Welcome to Florida Mint on Florida Man with Greg, Wayne, Josh, and Cameron, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends, lore, and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida. We are here this evening with a very good friend called Nick. Nick, how are you?
Cold.
Well,
Yes.
I am well. How are you guys?
Nick,
Doing
I'm doing really
good.
well. Doing really well. Nick is, you're the host of, one of the hosts of the Drep and Stone podcast, correct?
Yeah. My friend and I, Kyle. Yeah, it's the two of us, and I am not Kyle, as you said. I am Nick.
You are called Nick.
I am called
He is
Nick.
called Kyle.
Now we have that.
I just want to
out.
set the record straight, everybody. That's their names.
That's how that works.
Nick is filling in for Josh, sitting in a spot which feels weird to me, only because I have never had a chance to sit on the couch during an episode, and I still have
That's
not.
right.
And so I'm a little, I wouldn't say salty. What's less than salty?
I would say sweet.
I am,
You're a little sweet.
I'm furious. No, but honestly, this is totally off subject. Did you guys ever have Beanie Babies growing up?
Come
I'm
on.
gonna switch it up.
I wanted to.
You wanted to.
You weren't allowed.
I wasn't allowed to collect,
Yeah.
and my mom was weary of things that weren't.
What
like,
about cuddle?
was I allowed
You
to
couldn't
be
even have
cuddled?
one.
You couldn't cuddle anybody.
No,
No,
I mean, like,
yeah.
I get the collecting aspect of Beanie, but you weren't allowed to have any.
I wasn't allowed to collect most things.
Same.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, collecting sounds expensive.
Yeah, it
That sounds
is. Yeah.
So we randomly got like 3 Beanie Babies the other day because a grandparent gave them to our son, and he brought them home. And then like he's been playing with them for a couple weeks. And the other night we were watching like a movie or show or something, and one was sitting next to me, and I kind of picked it up, and I'm like, "Are Beanie Babies worth anything anymore?"
Yeah, they are.
They are.
I'm just gonna say I need somebody that has some knowledge to contact me, because I'm pretty sure we found a really good Beanie Baby. Patty the platypus
Come on.
is like one of the original Beanie Babies.
Well, you know I wrote a book on Beanie Babies, right?
Well, okay, so we're gonna need to check
This is why Nick is here.
some pictures.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah,
I
I'm
did
sorry.
start looking into it, and it's the most complicated thing I've ever seen. What hue of magenta is your platypus? What?
You can't ask somebody that on the first date.
No. What color is your platypus?
Yeah.
Mine's purple, so some are magenta.
Right.
But anyways, there's like a little star on the tag, or is there not? It's
Right.
dude, I don't know, but I did see that some of them were like $10,000. So
That's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, I remember like around when Princess Diana died, they came out with a
you don't have to bring
specific-
that up. We
That's
don't talk
right.
about that on this.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's when we should have told you beforehand. There's 2 things we don't talk about on the show. One's Princess Diana.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
The other one will let you know if you mess it up.
well,
But no, so she passed, and there's a Beanie Baby, right?
correct. Yeah,
her?
and it no, it's like a commemorative Beanie Baby.
Oh, I'm sorry.
but like
God.
it's like a white bear, and it's got a heart
Okay.
on it. And it's, if you can find one in like mint condition, it's worth a ton of money.
That's so crazy. But it's worth a lot of pounds, actually.
Yeah, doesn't
Well,
convert
the pounds
anymore.
aren't worth anything now.
Right, I know.
So it's worth a lot.
It's worth a lot of rubles.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so contact me about my platypus. I really want to figure this out. If you're interested, if you've been searching for a platypus, I am more than willing to part with Patty. Immediately stole it from my son. I'll be honest with you.
He's like, Dad, where's my stuffed animal? And you're like,
Dude,
it's Dad's stuffed animal
He
now.
hasn't brought it up at all.
Yeah,
he
he's
has
like, I don't
zero
care about
idea.
the thing.
He still has Speedy the turtle. That
Come
one's
on.
fine. I looked it up. It's worth like $7.
He can keep that one.
He can keep Speedy.
You can keep. You get Snickle Fritz,
Bro,
kid.
Patty's living the top of my closet right now.
Come on.
Well,
She's on a
how
blanket.
much is Patty worth? Patty worth?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure
Oh,
out,
okay,
because it legitimately, some of them are worth like 10,000, some of them are worth like $500.
Right.
Some of them are worth like, $2. So,
Does it still have the tag on it?
yep.
Ooh.
Wow.
With a cover, like a
Oh,
cover,
like the
over
plastic
tag.
cover?
Yeah.
All right.
Protection.
Dude, next week, Cameron's going to be like in, like, I don't know, like the Bahamas.
Bro,
living it up. Just having a good time on
Open
Beanie
a
Baby
Swiss
money.
bank account.
bro, Patty. Man. Okay, headlines.
Headlines.
I've got a good one to start us off with. A little rude, a little disappointing.
I like it.
But a little fun. So we have a Florida teen. The article says teen. I have an issue with that. He's 18. I guess it's in the name.
Right.
But you're an adult, so stop like trying to make us feel bad for
It's
him.
Florida.
I see. I know where you're going with this.
You
It's
know
like,
what I'm saying?
Like someone breaks into a house and they're like a teenager, and your image is
Exactly.
very different.
You
Exactly.
think like 13, 15.
Right.
You don't
This
think
person's
like
18. You're a grown man.
I'm thinking
Right.
high school, so which I guess he could be.
He could be.
Yeah, okay. I just destroyed my argument. All right. Well, anyways, this adult ended up using a splatter gun,
Okay.
Wow.
which I actually had to Google because
Those are kind of cool.
I didn't really fully know what it was. It sounds like you could
It's from
call
Fortnite.
Okay. Well,
Is that what it's from?
I don't know.
I'm
I
pretty
didn't.
sure,
I
yeah.
looked it up
It
and I
sounds
didn't
right.
see that.
Oh,
but,
okay.
So God, it sounds like it could be like a paint gun
Yeah.
that's been rebranded.
Really?
Like,
Paintball gun.
well, in my head, I'm like, I've never heard of that, but
Yeah.
it does shoot like white orb or like it's water-based beads,
Yeah, I've seen
Okay.
those.
Orbeez. And so
Orbeez.
Have you ever heard one of those guns?
I've never heard
Like
one.
they sound like little machine guns.
Really?
Yeah. they're-
I mean, I could imagine if it's loaded up with. Now, I will say this: my only experience with Orbeez
Come on.
was when Wayne filled up his bathtub with Orbeez.
I did. I did do
soaked
that.
in there for a few hours, and it was a mess.
Well, no one said that they don't disintegrate. I don't know why I assumed they would just go
I just
down
thought
the
the
drain.
problem would go away.
Yeah, you just have to scoop marbles out of your bathtub for like 3 hours. It's not worth it.
They're getting bigger. They're not like don't
Yeah.
they get?
I
They grow?
started hyperventilating. I'm having a panic attack. I'm like, they're
Wait,
getting bigger.
You were in the bathtub with the Orbeez?
Oh yeah,
okay.
that was very nice.
I was gonna say.
So, anyways, this adult, 18-year-old adult, took a splatter gun full of Orbeez
Uh-huh.
and basically shot a woman in the face with them.
Where? Where was he?
She was driving, and basically he walked up to her car, and she ended up rolling the window down, thinking he was going to talk. He basically pointed right at her, fired, and barely missing her right eye. Now, which obviously I am sympathetic towards the whole situation of getting shot, especially right next to your eye.
Right.
However, the quote that I'm about to read, I think they need to tone it back a little bit. The quote is, if you hit someone in the eye, eyes are soft and mushy and they don't grow back.
Come on.
That's one of the big things we talk about.
I learned that in anatomy too.
This is an officer. This is an officer that's basically like,
He's saying cops talk about that like regularly.
I guess that's one of the big things we talk about.
I'm a law enforcement officer, and by the way, eyes are squishy.
So mushy, and they don't grow back.
What's the mushiest part of the body?
The eyeball?
Exactly. So anyways, yeah, he got arrested. Well, I don't even, it doesn't even fully say that he got arrested. It just says he has to show up, on a battery charge.
Did he
in
say
April.
anything? Like he knocked on the window and just shot her?
Pretty much. That's what it kind of led you to believe.
That's some villain stuff, man.
that
That's
really
really that's like
is.
villain vibes.
Yeah, I didn't give any like background to what he was doing or why, or if she did something to annoy him, or he
I
just
feel like
walked
you
up-
need to yell something.
Maybe it's a
at
gang.
least. Maybe.
It could be like an Orbeez gang.
the teenage Orbeez gang.
Thanks
right?
for unlocking a new fear. I didn't know. I honestly, dude, like I don't know. It's kind of okay. Hear me out. I'm going somewhere with this. Some people have been saying recently, because of the conflict in Europe, that if a nuclear bomb were to go off, they would rather be like in the blast instead of surviving and like having the radiation and the post-apocalyptic stuff, right?
Okay.
Like, that's the argument. My argument, in comparison is, if you're going to shoot me in the face with an Orby gun, just do it for real. You know what I mean? Like
nuclear weapon
what?
Orbeez.
yeah, I don't
Same
want to be
thing.
splattered in the face at like Mach speed by an Orby and have to live to tell about that. That's just, I don't know. I don't want to do
okay,
that.
so-
For the
you're-
embarrassment factor, or
Did I just compare that to a nuclear blast?
You
Yes.
did.
Was it
and
right?
being shot
Probably
in the
not.
face for real. I'd rather be shot in the face with a real gun than an Orbeez.
I didn't say I thought it through. It was just an emotion.
he did preface that. Like I haven't thought this through.
Okay, our next headline, we have a Florida man. Well, I'll do this one because you brought up the nuclear weapons.
Thank you.
So we
Perfect
have
segue.
a Florida man from Daytona area that owns a gun company called Kel-Tec.
Okay.
And it's not one of the most well-known gun company, but they're up and coming. They're a Florida company that
Baby gun company.
yeah, baby guns. And that's what they sell.
Guns
baby guns. Guns for babies.
Okay.
Yeah. Not small guns.
Yeah,
Guns for babies.
America.
Big guns for small people.
Yes.
And so they basically had a contract with someone in Ukraine for 400 guns. But then all of a sudden that contact, that customer in Ukraine went suddenly silent once the invasion started. I'm sure that they, now I know that sounds bad any way that you put it.
Yes, it does.
His last name was Zelensky.
Yeah. I mean,
He's busy.
He could have just been busy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he decided, the owner of of Keltec decided, okay, I'm still going to send him to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And so he basically found a way to end up, I guess he was able to find some contacts. It's not easy to send 400
what did he
weapons.
do? Just put Ukraine on the box?
No.
And good luck.
Basically, hope it gets there.
Yeah.
Throws it in the ocean.
Correct.
Like a message in the bottle. Like,
He basically found a contact in Ukraine that had contacts at the embassy, the Ukrainian embassy, and all this kind of stuff. Was a diplomat and was able to secure a federal arms export license in 4 days,
Wow.
which usually takes months. And so he ended up being able to send. These are 9mm, which normally is a
guns, right.
handgun.
Right,
These are
right.
foldable rifles.
wow.
Which is kind of interesting.
Huh.
But
you pack a lot in a box
exactly.
when they fold.
Oh, that's the only reason to fold them.
Yeah.
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 You have to piece them back together.
Can I
Once they get
just say, whenever you said 400 rifles, or 400 guns, like in context, if you said to me, dude, someone in our hometown had 400 guns, I was like, that's a lot of guns.
Right.
But then when you said they're sending 400 guns to Ukraine,
That's
I'm like,
not enough.
That's not enough, bro. Like, you got to send more
You
than
need to send a
that.
few more.
I'll be honest, my neighbor probably has 400 guns.
Right. Yeah. It's Polk County.
It's Polk County.
Yeah.
Like,
So anyways, so this is like a thing where a lot of people have been trying to do this. Not necessarily exact. I mean,
sending
some people,
guns.
Well, sending help within guns, military, like ballistic
Right.
helmets and body armor and stuff like that.
Yep,
People
yep.
from the United States have been trying to send and like help support. Like even I think the governor of Colorado basically started a campaign where he was asking police and sheriff's departments to donate surplus ballistic helmets
That's
and things
cool.
like that. But they're having a problem getting stuff there. Well, somehow this guy with Keltec, I think he kind of got lucky. He did have a contact with like a neighbor of this guy in Ukraine. Well, now other companies are able to piggyback off of his license because his license is for 10,000 guns.
That's kind of cool.
That's the
And
right
so-
amount of guns.
Yeah. That sounds right to
That
me.
sounds
about
right.
Yeah.
So he's able to, like, other companies have been sending some guns along with his license. He also has set it up to where his company basically has a contract with them to start sending them guns monthly.
Really?
Which is interesting. And
Wow.
He's an arms dealer.
That's exactly.
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah, but like now internationally.
But now-
like,
Now
he's-
that's the cool thing.
Now he's credentialed.
If you go to his Instagram, it
I
says,
saw that movie.
I'm now an international.
he's got
arms
a blue check next to it
Exactly.
yeah. Where it's like, we know you now.
It's like experience 400 guns in Ukraine.
his FBI file got a lot bigger.
Oh, dude, honestly, yeah. You're probably on some watch list now.
I mean,
All
dude,
of them. You're
there-
on all of the watch
I know what
lists.
you're both thinking. The Nicolas Cage movie,
Right.
Lord
of War.
Lord of War.
Yeah.
That movie is phenomenal.
I was thinking War Dogs.
Yeah, War Dogs is good.
Yeah,
The Nick Cage movie gets slept on. It is incredible, and it's about an arms dealer.
it is.
And it's so casual.
I think they're Russian arms.
I think so. Yeah, the Kalashnikovs. I mean,
Yeah.
apparently there's just crates of those floating around the world.
Yeah.
People are like, it's like eBay. They just
Ukraine
I totally
stamped on them
believe
now.
yeah.
All right, our next headline, we have a Florida thief. All right.
Boo.
In Miami. Okay.
Uh-huh.
This Florida man went to this place called Lux Miami, which is a shoe store, and decided to, break in. Okay. He
First
started.
mistake.
Yeah, that was definitely his first mistake.
Right.
Second mistake was he had to cut a hole in the roof because he couldn't find another way in.
Come on.
And so third mistake, there's a lot of mistakes. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Now that you started the
Sorry.
numbering, I've got to keep it going. Third mistake is he falls down once he gets through the hole in the roof.
Yep. Clumsy boy.
Kind of comes crashing to the ground and quickly starts grabbing every shoe he could find.
Yeah.
Single
like
shoe.
on his way down?
No, once he got up.
Just the left one.
I thought he was
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
trying to soften his fall.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Because like they only put one shoe on display at a time.
He grabbed 20 left shoes.
No way.
Yes, called
He
it.
grabbed 20 left shoes and left. He escaped. with 20 left shoes only.
Perfect.
About $20,000 in loss.
Wow.
Which I at first I read that as like, holy crap, these are
about
Lux,
10K.
Lux shoes.
$1,000 shoes.
Sure.
But I'm wondering if they're lumping in the hole in the roof too.
I mean,
But it doesn't say it that way.
the
It
place
kind of
was
reads
called
really
Lux
weird.
shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're probably like, special
Well, I think
collector
so.
shoes.
I think I've seen people with like Lux hoodies. Like
No, I mean, like
I don't
the
know what it
store
is.
might be like a
Yeah, high-end.
Like a boutique.
high-end,
Yeah.
boutique.
Yeah.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I wonder how disappointed he was. He goes through all that hard work to cut a hole in the roof and falls through.
Yeah,
and he
so-
walks off with a bunch of bow-legged shoes.
That's the thing. So the business owner is upset because he doesn't have insurance. And so he took quite a bit of loss. They go up on the roof, found out that he cut 3 holes in the roof because he couldn't find the right spot.
Oh my god!
But
Very discerning.
now the owner is basically hoping that the guy just comes forward and drops the shoes off because he only has 20 left shoes and can't do anything with them.
At that point, though, I genuinely wonder. Let's say that the shoe store owner, he
Right.
posts on Facebook, "Hey, like if you just bring them back, we're not going to press charges." And let's say that the guy does return
That's a
those.
gotcha thing.
I was about to
for
say,
Yeah.
like, even if the guy doesn't press charges, I think the cops are still going to be like, "Hey, man, you're going to prison." You know what I mean? Like, there's a precedent there.
One hole, we understand.
3
3 holes? Come on, bro.
20 left shoes, bro.
Yeah, but your sentence in prison, you only get right shoes.
Exactly.
So from
You just
here on
walk in-
out,
you
and
walk in
everybody
circles.
knows like you're the guy who stole all the left shoes. aren't
Dude,
you?
that's how we
It's embarrassing.
we have to go back to a shame system in this country.
Yeah.
Where
for
you
real.
misbehave, you get shamed for it.
Yeah. I'm down
It's
for
gonna
it.
solve a lot of problems.
I think
Honestly, you can also tell that he didn't think or give any thought to getting the right size. Man, I mean, he probably wasn't planning on wearing
No,
them.
gonna
he's
resell
gonna
them.
resell them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have just got the complete shoes though. Like
Can
the
I
pairs.
just say the king of our county is a guy named Grady Judd.
Yeah.
He's definitely got 400 guns. But
Oh,
he,
God.
dude, this guy's
At
the
least.
sheriff. If you do something naughty in this town, he will blow up a picture of you and he puts it on the news and just talks trash about your whole family for like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, it goes viral every single time.
Yeah.
It really
And
does.
There's something there to it, man.
And gives like, this is why we should have shot him more. Or this is why
Yeah,
we should have shot him.
he's a real life cowboy without a hat.
Yeah, for real.
Yellowstone character.
Oh man. All right. I knew you'd bring it up. All right. Our next headline.
Good job.
We have a Florida man, Mr. Fudge.
Come
Ooh,
on.
I like it.
That's
Anything to you
hurtful.
guys? Does it mean anything
Works
to
for
you?
Keebler.
No, but he does live with his mom, and
Yep.
he is on house arrest,
Uh-huh.
and he is confined to his home. But he keeps getting in trouble. Sarah, why don't you go ahead and throw a picture of Mr. Fudge on the screen
our live
for our
stream
live
here.
streamers? Here, Wayne. Here's a picture of Mr. Fudge. Oof.
Correct.
Now, if you could
That's-
yeah.
describe Mr. Fudge.
That's okay. If a potato, like self-animated, and then was like, "Kill me," like you know what I mean? Like
it's like, oh
That's
man.
guy- that guy.
He's pure Star Wars character. That's
Mr.
exactly
Fudge.
what that guy is.
But
Here's go ahead.
Star Wars
it's
villain.
perfectly circular. Look at that. I mean, that's a perfect circle.
There's nothing. There's nothing perfect
I was
about
gonna
that
say,
face.
Perfect is not a word I would
I'm
use
sorry,
to
Mr.
describe that.
Fudge. I'm sorry. Here's the issue. Mr. Fudge keeps getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, he is on house arrest because he stole some money from a tip jar at Little Joey's Italian restaurant.
Oh.
Okay, which is just so.
The more the
mean.
story goes on, the
Little
more it
Joey's.
sounds made up.
Right.
Little
The tip
Joey,
jar at Little
Mr.
Joey's.
Fudge.
Well, here's why Mr. Fudge keeps getting in trouble. Because he keeps leaving his house to go to grocery stores and to restaurants. He just keeps getting caught on being in the wrong spot. And,
Wait, what?
like, he's supposed to be home. He keeps calling Ubers to take him to Publix and to restaurants. Like, his mom will be at the it says that his mom will go to like a doctor's appointment, and he gets caught like at Publix. And it has to get
She's like,
arrested.
just stay
Sorry,
home,
guys.
Fudge.
Please, Fudge, just stay at home this
I
time.
mean, this guy's he's look at him. He's
Yeah.
hungry.
You know, there's one officer that they're like, okay,
Hey,
you're going to get him.
Mr.
this
Fudge
time.
is out
yeah.
again. Who's going to grab him?
Ah, man.
That's like the low man on the totem pole.
Exactly.
Like, new guy. Round up the Fudge. He's down at Little Joey's again.
Oh, poor Mr. Fudge. That poor mom, too. All right, our next headline. We have let's see, where do I want to go? We have a Florida woman. Okay, we'll go to the villages for a second.
Yeah.
Our favorite place to be.
Come on.
We have a Florida woman that was in her little golf cart, of course.
A little golf cart.
Okay.
Like baby guns.
I don't know. It sounds like it might be pretty nice. It sounds like a party because after she got arrested for peeing on the side of the road, officers saw her pull over. Saw
You gotta go. You gotta go.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
once he started searching this little golf cart of hers, he found 2 bottles of Fireball whiskey,
Okay.
2
Wow.
open cans. Well, those were open. 2 open cans of Mich Ultra,
Come on.
and 2 bottles of Platinum 7X vodka.
Okay.
high
And
quality.
her blood alcohol content was 1.143. And so the issue here is the officer basically was saying if she had just kept driving, she probably wouldn't have got arrested. I'm glad she did. She got a DUI, but
Right.
she had to take
Yeah.
a pee break.
Right.
And
No
that
one
basically-
would have known.
Nobody would have known.
She's got a Circle K worth of liquor. and she pulls over to pee, and that's what did it.
I mean, so if you're going to
She's
travel,
driving around the villages in her golf cart.
yes.
Which, dude,
Isn't that everybody though?
I was
I
about to say, everybody in the villages is
Come on.
probably, I mean, not everybody.
Well, they all wear those hats with the 2 beers on the side.
Yeah, for sure. 70% of the villagers are definitely day drinking every day.
yeah.
Easy.
And don't they have their own police force?
That
Sounds
doesn't
right.
seem
That sounds right.
doesn't seem legal, but
But I just feel like
they have
if-
their own everything else. So.
Sure.
Yeah, if it was a village's cop that pulled her over, he would just be like,
Betty's
"Dolores,
out again.
Yeah,
Doris.
get back in your little golf cart.
Yeah.
Let me
and
escort you home.
go
What
back
do you
to
mean,
the
though? That's
tiki
his
bar.
whole job. They would do that every single day, though.
That would be exactly. That's what.
But that's
my
the job,
point.
right?
Yeah, I mean-
like nobody gets in troubles in the village.
You know how
It's
we
a
get the-
utopia, Cameron. Come on.
You know how we get the villages to shape up?
Build.
We turn Mr. Fudge loose into the villages.
My God.
Those people will get their act together pretty
Dude,
quick.
honestly, now that you say that, Mr. Fudge was on villagesnews.com.
Come on, I knew it.
That's where that
That
article
guy's
came
got the
from.
map of Kosovo on his head, like a bald spot.
What did you just say?
He's got like this like European country on
What
his
fictional place did you just
It's
say?
real.
That's a
Kosovo's
real place.
What did you
real.
say?
He's
Wayne
got the-
gets this one. Kosovo.
Yeah, he's got the map of like
That's not a real
It's
place.
a real place.
he's got a weird like bald spot on his head. What's the guy from
Throw it back up there, Sarah.
remember the guy that was the counterpart of Ronald Reagan in the 80s?
Gorbachev.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of the same vibe, but it's a bald spot.
Oh, I know. I 100% agree that he has a map of something. I just thought you said Costa Rica really
No,
fast. And
can you
like,
pull up Kosovo and then side by side that guy's bald spot and see how close I am? Because I feel like it's. I mean, I haven't taken geography in a while,
We'll
but
put it on Instagram.
yeah, we will. We'll put it on
Or
Instagram.
and Twitter and whatever else we have.
Yeah,
all right. Our
everything.
next headline: we have a Florida man. All right, who was trapped in a porta potty.
Okay.
All right,
Who
one of the
hasn't been?
worst places to be trapped. Well,
Did you just
go
Yeah,
ahead.
That's fine. No, that's fine. So, I think I've been saying that wrong my whole life.
Porta potty,
Wait, what did you say?
porta potty.
Porta potty.
Porta potty.
What did I
What
say
did you
next?
say?
You said porter potty.
porta potty.
Like
Yeah, I
the
think-
that's like the proper way.
no,
like-
it's porta.
Yeah, like, but I'm saying like if you're in high class company, you
Oh,
go.
right.
I have to go to the porter potty.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're with redneck company, you go. I'm going to the porta potty.
The porta potty.
No, like as in like it's a portable potty.
Okay.
Porta potty.
I see what you're saying now. I've never seen it spelled out. I heard you say the hard R, and I was like, I've been saying it wrong my whole life.
porta potty.
Porta
Porta
potty.
potty.
The portable toilet.
There it is.
This plastic cage. This guy gets stuck in here. All right, we're gonna assume we all know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But
Reading a book.
he was left there
Clearly.
screaming, trying to get out of this porta potty. Basically, could not get out. He actually got his foot stuck. Like his foot was sticking outside of the door. You know how?
Again, who hasn't been in that situation?
Right, where,
Right.
Like basically, you could push the bottom and the top of it. Like
Right.
you've probably like done that to your friends, right? You like
forgot
pull
to-
it open.
Oh yeah. I've been in a I've been in a porta potty like
easy.
4 times my whole life.
Yeah.
I just as soon as I go in, I assume someone's going to push it over.
Or do something.
Do
Right.
something to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
100%.
It's like a prank waiting to happen.
it's
Correct.
But here's the thing. I would rather go potty in public than in a porta potty.
Like
It just
I was gonna
feels
say-
unsafe.
just
Yeah.
like Doris. Just
Just
true.
all my alcohol.
So this guy gets his foot stuck. Okay, there's nobody around.
Okay.
I feel like I could easily get out of a locked porta potty.
Oh, you're super
I
strong.
mean, yeah, you're manly man
I don't know
over
how
there.
you get locked. The lock is inside. Anyways,
Just flex.
actually, the next part will probably clear this up. So the officers, I think somebody called the cops, and so they show up and they help him get out, and quickly find fentanyl.
Do they have to like jaws of life him out though?
I would think so, or they just push the whole thing over and it falls apart.
Yeah.
Give it like a little shake and like the sides fall down. But yeah, they find fentanyl on his possession. So
okay.
I would
Lord.
assume maybe the porta potty wasn't even locked.
So he was just having a panic attack.
Saying he was locked
Pushing the
inside.
door open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saying he was locked inside might be more like he was just stuck inside.
He was confused.
Yeah.
He was having a
He's
confused.
pushing the back door, or like the back side.
Yeah, the back of it. This thing won't open.
Right.
Oh man! All right, our next headline we have. We're gonna go to Burger King. I mean, I wish I was like
That's fine.
actually saying that. Like,
That's fine.
you
dude.
guys want to go to Burger King?
Right now?
I'm just saying Burger King is a Florida based company, so
I know it really is.
Is it?
they founded in
Wow.
Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, episode something. So, anyways, this employee at this Burger King, she's working the drive-thru, I think, and she gets into some argument with a guy.
Okay.
All right. Well, the argument starts getting a little heated. The man allegedly throws something at her through the drive-thru. And so, she quickly runs outside. Well, he throws something and then starts driving away.
He's in the car, throws it in. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
She's inside. She's the employee. He throws something inside, drives away. She quickly runs outside, goes to her car, and then grabs a gun and shoots 5 times at
Okay.
the car.
Yep.
Right, which is natural reaction.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, how slowly are you leaving a drive-thru after like throwing something in the window that somebody can run outside,
That
It's
is-
a Terminator situation.
get
Like,
their weapon, yeah, and
Yeah.
then shoot at you 5 times, unless like you're way out and she's just shooting it at nothing.
where
Do you think it was
this?
one of those
Burger
things
King.
where like
No, I know, but like,
Oh, I
what's-
don't know.
Do we don't know? Okay.
It's somewhere.
Because if it's like in
Miami-Dade.
Orlando,
Miami-Dade
okay,
County.
so that, traffic.
True,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
He goes to pull out to iDrive
Right.
and he's stuck and she's just like behind him, full speed.
I just assume
T1000.
I assume everything's a small town like I live in, and like
Right.
It's
just
in Miami.
it's open roads.
It's downtown
everywhere.
Miami. What I was going to say was sometimes people will prank their friends by
Right.
having them in the back seat, and they'll do like
Oh,
something,
yeah.
and then the driver won't drive away.
Throw a milkshake at somebody.
Yeah,
or
maybe this
something
was
like
the
that.
same thing, except the result was bullets.
Right.
That was like
exactly.
the-
Well, they think that he threw. I don't know why they don't know, but they think that he threw mayo, like mayonnaise.
A packet of mayo?
That's what I assume, because
Nobody
I
has
don't
like
know
a
who's
cup of mayo.
or like a fistful.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a fistful of mayonnaise in your car, like, dude, you deserve to get shot at.
I know. I was about to say, if you have a fistful of mayonnaise in your car, you have been shot at before.
I mean,
Like
you're
life's not
prepared for
going
anything.
normal for you.
no, for sure. And so, anyways, she gets arrested. Burger King, by the way, I just want to make this very clear, because Burger King wants to be very clear.
Uh-huh.
The weapon was not inside the restaurant.
Yeah.
She had to run outside to her personal vehicle.
Oh, did she?
Mm.
Did she Burger King? She had that behind her apron 100%.
Oh, it was like behind the fryer, like
Absolutely
duct
ready
tape to
to
the
go.
wall.
This is something that Josh would bring up, and I just want to say I love the fact that this woman shot at this person, and we were like, I mean, the guy's got mayonnaise in his car. He had it coming. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I still kind of stand by that. though. Well, no, not if you have mayonnaise in your car, right? Who doesn't
you
have?
should. Okay, we
Who
want to
doesn't have
clarify.
mayonnaise in your car?
Yeah.
We were talking about a fistful of like loose mayonnaise.
Right.
Gets it out of the jar.
Just
and
like
If you're doing that, then
shoot me with an Orbeez gun. You know what I mean?
splatter it on my face.
Come on.
The mayonnaise, not the.
So as we said in the cold open, we are here with our good friend Nick from the show Drep and Stone. You've been a friend of the podcast for a while.
Yeah.
And a friend
Episode
of-
1.
Thank you. Yeah, that's insane. And a friend of Cameron and I's for a long time.
Yeah.
In real life, outside of
before
work.
episode 1.
Yes. Yes.
Way before
Yeah.
episode 1.
But can you
Definitely.
tell us a bit about your show and what you all do over there at Drep and Stone?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I do that, though, that or that segue music, that the music between like that, you're both like really into it,
fire,
and I'm like,
bro.
and that's getting me into
It's
it.
fire,
It's
yeah.
so
That's the
good.
best
Thank
one,
you.
I think. The best
Yeah,
transition.
Josh
music.
does have the best music.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, Drep and Stone. We're a whiskey kind of forward podcast.
Okay.
Every episode starts with a drink of some sort. Sometimes it's whiskey, sometimes it's beer, sometimes we throw in mixed drinks and a few other things. And then it just continues with a conversation between Kyle and I on something that we find interesting that week. It could be something that's pop culture related, could be something that's philosophy based, could be something that we read or heard, listened to, like anything that just is kind of like, this is what we feel we need to talk about. So the whole thing is kind of conversation based and just a conversation between two friends. And it really started based on the fact that we thought our conversations were cool. I feel like some people are like, these are really good conversations. And I think that's probably the genesis of a lot.
Put it on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to benefit from this. But we wanted to kind of document our journey in discovering more about whiskey and more about drinks.
That's cool.
And also just a lot of the kind of topics that we find interesting. So we were just kind of like, somebody else will probably find this interesting too. And it's been a really interesting journey so far through, at the time of this recording, 130 episodes of not only the drinks, but also just all the topics and conversations that we've had the fortune to talk to one another about. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, like I know you said in passing, and we were talking about this before we went live tonight, but 130 episodes, man, that's a huge undertaking.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And it's been fascinating. Like I said, we love seeing our friends do dope stuff, and it's just been one of those things. Like the three of us talk about you guys often from afar, seeing your show and the trajectory in which you guys, we knew you when you started, but then seeing what you guys have been able to accomplish, and you've really carved out, a highway for, in that area of podcasting. You guys are doing great things, and dude, it's incredible, man. And so we're honored to have you fill in tonight. And
I'm honored to be here.
I'm honored to learn because like I said, Cameron teaches me a lot about like bourbons and drinks and stuff,
and philosophy,
philosophy,
popular
religion,
culture,
right,
specifically,
100%. But Cameron said just a little bit ago that you trump him on drink knowledge.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I went on their show on episode 69.
Wow.
And we talked about
Soul. Pixar Soul.
Yeah, the movie. And then we had Elijah Craig, 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Which was really good. That was
delicious.
exciting.
So he's a grown man now.
Yeah. But honestly, like
that's a drink.
Oh,
correct. Yes.
18. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Gotcha.
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 It's a teenager though. Like,
Yeah, I'm letting our listeners know.
Yeah.
It took me a second to figure it out. I'm assuming maybe something
Elijah
you were
Craig
like,
is a brand,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, I mean, I feel like just kind of Nick has mentored me along too with like bourbon world and whiskey world and stuff like that. And yeah, it's always interesting. Like it's funny because we'll randomly send each other like pictures of stuff that we found, or just like, hey, do you want me to pick this up for you or anything? And I actually held on to a really good bottle for him for 8 months? I think
a year.
It was sitting on my shelf for like 8
summer,
months. Yeah. So
it was
anyways.
a 19-year-old.
It's 19-year-old now.
Schwartz.
Yeah. Just turned 19-year-old.
And the fact that we live like less than 10 minutes away from each other, just
Well, I think it's interesting because I'm inexperienced. My palate's inexperienced, and so like I will try something and I'll be like, Cameron, why don't I like this? And he's like, this is exactly why.
Yeah.
So in your
pickle.
Yeah, exactly. In your expertise, like, and this is your area. Do you guys find it difficult? Like, I mean, because for me as an amateur, like whiskey is whiskey, bourbon's bourbon. I know it's offensive, but like with you with you guys, like
I'm very offended. I'm leaving.
Yeah, like
right now.
How do you break that down? So you try a drink. Walk us through your show. Like what do you discuss?
Yeah. So we've poured a drink.
Yeah.
All right. And so much of the drink is the whole experience. And what I mean by that is like when people think about whiskey, generally their introduction to a whiskey is like, a Jack Daniels or a Jim Beam or Jameson maybe for Irish whiskey. Sure. Yeah. And they're used to putting it in a shot glass and taking it quick.
Sure.
And sure, that's a part of it. But then there's a whole nother segment of, what does this smell like? What is the color of this drink look like to you? Like, is it, and you kind of gain the vocabulary to talk about it, but what does it smell like? Are you getting leather? Are you getting peanuts? Are you getting tobacco? Are you getting pipe smoke or, cigar smoke? And a lot of that just comes through experience. I mean, the same with anything. I mean, when you first start playing music, everything sounds either really terrible or really great.
Sure.
But then you start to kind of learn how to discuss those things. So then from there, we'll do it's called the nose of the drink or the nose of the whiskey. We talk about those notes that you get on it. And then we sample it and we talk about the palate of the whiskey, how not only how does it taste, what tasting notes we get, but also what, how does it feel in your mouth? Like, is it oily? Is it really thin? Is it watery? So things like that. And what we hope to do through the podcast, not only are we doing this for ourselves to talk about these things, but we hope that we also give language to someone like yourself who,
it's educational.
Yeah, here you go, Wayne. Here is a whiskey. And so now that he's explained the whole process to you,
I don't have any, so I can't do that too. But
Wayne's gonna go ahead and walk us through the entire show. Well, you gotta smell it. All right,
first of all, what color is this liquid?
It's a golden brown.
Correct. Yep.
And now I smelt it and drank it at the same time. And I tasted
perfect.
A hint of bleach. Is that correct?
Yeah. I put some bleach in here.
Yeah, no. Well, I will say this.
That's why he's turning red.
Well, yeah. I was telling Nick a little bit ago. I'm kind of an old man in the sense that once I figure out what I like, I kind of just stick with it. And I'm the same with hamburgers as I am with whiskey. And so, but I do find it fascinating, when someone is able to educate you and break those things down. It is contagious. Like, it makes you go like, for example, you can unlock things. You can have someone try like a wine,
right?
You can have someone try something and then go, "Oh, you should be experiencing this," and they can go, "Oh my God, you just gave me the language to say what I'm feeling." Yeah, and that's really cool.
And we get people contacting us all the time about that exact thing. Like, you guys said this about a drink, but I'm not getting those notes. I actually get these notes, which is kind of cool because then Kyle and I can go back and with that kind of new knowledge and say, are we getting what they're getting to? Right. So that then educates us.
Still, that's cool. And it's still an opinion. I think that's what makes it fun for people is like your opinion on how the smell of something is really just how it reminds you of something.
Absolutely.
Of something else, because you're not like, you could smell it and say, oh, well, that's just whiskey. Or you're trying to smell it and trying to say things that it reminds you of, or the hints that, you know what I mean? So everybody's opinion is still a little different.
A bit like art. Yeah, that's subjective.
They'll come together. Yeah.
That's a perfect analogy and this is something that we tell people too, of like, sure, if you look at a painting, there might be blue, red, green, black.
Yeah.
But someone who's a skilled artist will see all these variations of blue, all these variations of green, and the mixtures of colors within that. And it's very similar in that, sure, you could get a drink and, it's brown liquid, smells like alcohol, tastes like bleach.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's...
No
by the way,
offense
how much bleach have you had where that
as a child, it's just one of those things. You
recognize the taste of it, not
100%.
Right. But through that, you can kind of start to realize it's not blue. It's this kind of blue. Or in the case of whiskey, it's not just vanilla. It's you ever had one of those cowtails, like the candy cowtails?
I have. Yeah.
So it's like that kind of vanilla.
That's kind of cool.
Things
I
like
see
that.
what you're saying.
So that's how we kind of describe the tasting notes. It's not just, sometimes it's just, this is vanilla, but sometimes it's like, that vanilla, that apple pie vanilla, like
from the
that.
fair.
No, yeah. And it's that. And through those conversations, that's what makes the whiskey world or the beer world, we do beers too. That's what makes it interesting and relatable to people, because they figure out it's not just something that someone's made up. Like, I actually do get, oak and mahogany or peanuts or peanut brittle. Yeah.
What's been like your favorite part of your journey in the podcast, whether it was like conversations or experiences or drinks or whatever, what's been kind of like the highlights to you?
I think both for Kyle and I, and Kyle's the other host, for Kyle and I, it's seeing that journey in ourself, like in ourselves, across the board, like where we started and what we thought was good, and now what we think is good.
That's interesting.
And what we thought we wanted, what we thought we were searching for, and now, kind of our philosophies on different drinks. For us personally, that's the most interesting aspect.
Well, you're documenting over 2 years,
right?
A journey and doing something every week, and you're getting better at it and getting more experience. And now you're just putting, you know what I mean? Like
you're journaling like your growth.
Exactly.
Yeah. Our show is a lot of like, we're reporting headlines or we're telling stories that of the history or a past or whatever. But you guys are experiencing things in the moment and talking about it. And what's your opinion? Like educating yourself and kind of learning, which I think there are a lot of podcasts, or I shouldn't say a lot, but other podcasts that, all right, we're going to learn this thing over. We know a podcast that did that. Like, okay, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to do this and document it with a podcast, which is pretty cool.
And that was kind of a cognizant choice of ours of, we don't want to go into this thinking that we know everything.
Right.
In fact, we want to go into this podcast assuming that we don't know anything, and let's learn along with people. And that's something that we get all the time from people of like, listeners writing in. I went back and listened to episode 5 and then listened to episode 50 and episode 75, and I've seen that progression. I've seen that growth.
We're not that brave.
I was just about to say, you're very brave, my friend.
To what? To go back and listen?
Dude, I mean, like we were just saying, Josh knows our show better than anybody else.
Right.
If you started playing episode 5 for me right now, I would be like, cut the cameras off. Like, I don't want to. Yeah, I can't do this.
So slow. Well, and difficult.
Sure, that absolutely. But like, I mean, you guys as podcasters know, that's what people do. They generally listen to your most recent episodes,
right? Yeah. And work their way back.
Then they want to go back.
Hope so.
And that's what's cool for us, is that we then get feedback of, we're starting to see that journey through you guys and through ourselves. So then people, they might go buy a bottle and they might try that, and they might go buy something else and try that, and then we get tasting notes from those people too.
That's really so. Okay, so like I said, Cameron's way more educated than I am. Is there an experience on your podcast where you've gotten something rare or something that's extravagant that someone like Cameron would go, man, that's cool, they had that on their show?
It
all sounds exotic to me,
right? So for us specifically, there's, within the whiskey world specifically, there's a searching of what we call unicorns. And these are things that are really high dollar bottles, bottles that are difficult to find. And our kind of philosophy on that is, like, if we get those, cool. Like the Elijah Craig 18 that Cameron mentioned, that's a really hard bottle to find. And that's
and Cameron found that for you.
Yeah, I stole it. From my brother-in-law.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. went into his liquor cabinet. And,
yeah. Took it.
But for us, the average person's not going to be able to find those. Like, if you get really lucky, you might get some of those really big name, hard to find bottles. But for us, we kind of think about things of, if you were to go down to a store and what is on the shelf, let's do some of that stuff. Sure, we'll do things that are, maybe a little bit harder to find. Like one of our favorite brands, you can't find around here because it's Alabama specific. They do distribute a little bit outside of Alabama, but it's Alabama specific. But our philosophy is, if you listen to Drep and Stone, you should probably be able to go to a store and find that product to taste along with us.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And that's something you asked about, kind of the interesting or the things that we've learned most. And for us, it's that community of like-minded people, and people who are also like-minded but willing to challenge us. I mean, we have a huge listenership in the UK, and they get stuff that we've never seen and heard of, but then they get, drinks from the United States, and we can have those conversations.
That's really interesting.
So that's kind of our whole philosophy on it. Is like, sure, we like to find things that are hard to find, but also anyone should be able to go to a store and probably find these bottles.
So is it something where, like, and I'm trying to find something to compare this to for me, but like every now and then, like there's like a rare, like say Walmart, it's going to get like X amount of this product. Do you ever find that where like, you find out ahead of time that there's going to be like, hey, this spot in particular may have a couple extra bottles of Elijah Craig or something along those lines?
We do. And we also we try not to exploit that. For us being the podcast that we are, being the connections that we have, we will get there are store owners and employees are like, we got this product in, and we try not to, tell people.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, we don't want to.
Oh yeah, if you get a honey hole, you never tell anybody.
Well, and
I've gotten stuff that he's like, "Where'd you get that from?" I'm like, "I ain't telling you that."
You guys are friends.
Yeah, I'm not telling you.
I'm asking you to broadcast. I'm like, if you want this,
but also on that same token, we are completely transparent when it comes to that. Like, if someone in this area says, "Hey, where's a good spot to get stuff?" We're going to point them in the right direction. It doesn't mean that you're going to find, just amazing things every time you go. But like, the purpose for us is not to keep all of these things from people. It's to share this with people, and not to disparage other people within the whiskey world. But there's, like Cameron just mentioned, there's so much of that kind of thing of like, I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah.
But for us, it's like, Kyle and I want you to experience as much as you can. So if we find a good bottle at a good price at this store, sure, we'll tell you. We have no problem doing that.
That's so cool, man.
All right, 2 questions.
Yeah.
One
answer though.
One of them just came from live stream, but I'll give my first one. Drep and Stone, where'd the name come from?
Ooh, you remember that Princess Di thing that we don't mention?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
that was rule number 1.
You just did it again.
No, so it's a combination of Kyle's name and my name. His last name is Waldrip, and my last name is Johnston. So it's a combination between the two. I mean, you guys know, especially
I never realized that.
Yeah. And I think that might be the first time we've ever actually said that.
Dude, can I tell you what
actually,
I thought
I never knew that. Yeah.
I genuinely thought it was, I'm not making this up. I thought, because people have whiskey stones.
Yeah.
I thought it was some kind of like special whiskey stone or something.
Yeah,
and
like something that correlates with the
product.
topic.
The topic, but just it's a mixture of your last names.
Yeah. And the reason why,
I never knew.
Complete transparency, the reason why is because everything else is taken. You've got so many big names in the drinks world that we're like, well, let's just do something that's us. And then if somebody tries to rip this off, like, bro, that's our names.
Yeah. I feel like you put any word and stone, it sounds dope.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like you could say it would like, dang, that's like a whiskey show. Yeah.
Yeah. No. 100%.
Freaking whiskey stones.
Those guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it is cool. Like, I mean, and I think for us, like, it is kind of ironic, like, yeah, we've made a lot of connections in this industry over the course of the years.
Yeah.
And it's neat to see you guys doing what you do and to be as successful as you are.
I appreciate that.
And to be able to say, not only like, do we know you as like a brother show, but also that like we knew you in real life. So we've been able to see this thing from its infancy to being, the grown up that it is now. And it's really impressive, man.
Yeah,
but second question you had.
Yeah. Second question. Well, I mean, it popped up on live stream.
From Lauren, right?
Yeah, from Lauren says, so how does someone learn to enjoy drinks when they don't have the ability to smell what they're eating or drinking, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Especially because I saw this complaint a lot with COVID stuff.
Right.
Like when you lose your ability to drink, I saw a lot of people complaining. I can't even enjoy.
Wow.
Well, I mean that's paired with more like with COVID stuff, like you lose your taste, ability to taste too.
Right.
So what would you think?
That's so hard because so much of eating and drinking is the olfactory senses. Like, so if you can't smell this thing, it's going to be really hard to fully enjoy it.
Full experience.
Right. And I don't know to what degree Lauren's talking about, but there's there's such a connection between being able to smell and taste and how, how we engage with those things. It's really hard to separate them. So at that point, I mean,
especially when if there was something that you don't want to eat or something really like, you'd see like Fear Factor. If they had to eat something, they'd like close their nose or plug their nose. Yeah. I mean,
so like, in that point, like if Lauren wants to have a drink, buy the cheapest thing possible. If you can't taste it or smell it anyway.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, it's just a
pickle whiskey, bro.
Maybe not.
That
might actually get you.
That.
I was going to say that might get you to taste. Or we have this drink called it's Jeppson's Malort.
Oh, come on. Josh made us drink it.
Yeah. It's we did that on an episode and it's interesting. I will say this.
Wayne made me underage drink that.
Maybe, but here's Can I just clarify? Josh had access to some Jepson Malort.
Yep.
From Chicago.
It's from Chicago.
Believe.
Yeah.
And there's Wormwood.
Yep.
That they use.
Absolutely.
And what Josh gave us was not filtered. And so I think my reaction was more so for the wormwood
for real.
and not the Jepson Malort. But I remember sitting on the couch and I looked over at Joshua and Cameron and I said, I feel like I can feel my forehead.
Yeah. I will say this though, and we did this in the same episode. We did the Jepson's Malort and the Wicked Pickle whiskey. I will take the Jepson's Malort over the pickle whiskey.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Any day.
Well, dude, this has been a lot of fun, man. And like I said, we appreciate you coming on. But I wanted to say too, like, we get, when we do guest spots and we go on other shows, like we get bogged down with Florida questions because it's what we do for a living, And so we appreciate that expertise. We never go tired of talking about Florida. We love our state. I'm sure it's the same for you. Do you ever get tired talking about like whiskey? Is it something that you're just really passionate about?
No,
and
it's
you love
something
it so much?
it's something that we're passionate about. And never get tired of talking about it. Same with Florida stuff. I mean, there's so many interesting things.
Ending.
Right. It's never ending. And same for whiskey. And through the community that we've been fortunate enough to build, we've made so many connections literally globally. I mean, there's a huge whiskey culture in India that we just kind of like, that's interesting. So we have a lot of Indian listeners who are talking about Indian
very
whiskey.
cool.
Yeah. Huge culture of whiskey in Japan, which we just started to explore that a little bit too. So like
they love bourbon, dude.
They love bourbon. They love whiskey. So it's starting to figure out like those kind of niche things that most people in America, when you say whiskey, they think of two big names pretty much. But it's so wide and wide reaching. You've got local distilleries, you've got local people. And that's something that we never tire of, is not only finding new drinks, but also just finding new people to have those conversations with. And that's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool. Bridging the gap. So how can people find you guys?
We are all over social media. That's Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone, always all one word. We also drepandstone.com. You can find all of our stuff there, and we're on all major streaming services too. Everywhere you guys can find Florida Man on Florida Man, we're probably there too.
Come on,
send them a bottle if you want to hear their thoughts on something.
Absolutely,
yeah,
we love that.
Send us a bottle too.
Send you a bottle.
So Florida is known for being pretty good at sports.
Are we? I mean, in recent years,
lately,
Tampa Bay.
In my opinion, we do a lot of things really well. I think we're known for a lot of different.
Coming
sports
from the guy
teams.
who watches football only.
Okay,
right.
Here's the thing. I don't know American sports very well. But I know that some of the most loved college and professional sporting teams are from Florida. I hear people talk about them.
Right. Yeah, Florida State specifically.
And like Cameron said a few years ago, John Brady and the Bucks, they won the main trophy.
Well, it was
John Brady
last year. Yeah.
Yep.
Brady.
What's it called?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
They won the big trophy. And here's the thing. I just believe in my heart of hearts that Florida is well-rounded when it comes to athletics.
Right.
Well, we're strong down here.
Yeah, we're a strong bunch.
Yeah.
You put a ball in our hand and we're going to strong arm.
It's in the water.
We're going to run
it's that aquifer water.
We're going to score points. And I've always said that. Yeah. There's one sport in particular that Florida single-handedly put on the map, and that's the sport of Jai Alai.
It's Jai Alai?
That's right.
Not Jai Alai?
It's not Jai Alai.
The beer.
Jai Alai.
Oh, right.
Right.
That one I know.
Jai Alai beer.
So here's the thing. When I say that we put the sport on the map, I mean like globally, Jai Alai exists because of Florida.
Right.
Interesting.
For those of you who are listening and you're like, what's Jai Alai? I'm going to
I'd be curious.
teach you about it.
I'd be curious
like
to know
this.
how many how many out of 10 know what Jai Alai is?
Because I did not know.
It's just difficult to pronounce, first of all. So
that's true.
You see it on paper. You're like,
if I can't say it, I'm not going to play it.
Exactly.
I know it's
that. I always say that.
I'm just upfront, just so that we know where we're going in this.
Right.
I know it's a sport.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I know that there's probably a ball involved.
Yes.
It's got little cuppy things.
And it's got cuppy things now that I know that.
We're gonna cover those. And
That's
I will
it.
say this, it's highly ironic that that I'm the person explaining a new sport to everybody.
Come on, bro.
But Jai Alai is a sport where you bounce a ball off of a walled in space
Okay.
with a little scooper in your hand.
Okay, episode is over.
Now, the technical name for the scooper is called a cesta, C-E-S-T-A, and the professional name for the walled-in court is a fronton. It's F-R-O-N-T, or I'm sorry, F-R-O-N-T-O-N.
Take your little Cessna into the fronton.
Take your cesta into the fronton.
You bounce around a little bit.
Yes. So it's basically like wall ball. You use the cesta to sling the ball as fast as you can against the wall.
Okay.
And then people on the other team try to scoop it and sling it back.
Okay, so it really is like a racquetball, but you're scooping instead of just smacking.
It's actually similar to racquetball.
Like in wall ball, the point is to hit the other person too.
Yeah.
Is that part of the point?
I don't think it is here. No one said that in my research. I don't know if you get fouled for hitting somebody with this.
Did you play wall ball as a kid?
I did play wall ball as a kid,
Yeah.
and I was
Against
pretty
the
darn
dugout.
good at it.
You learn really quick.
You have to be good.
Yeah.
Or you're getting pegged.
Right.
But that's pretty much it. You guys are all basically professionals now. But in its heyday, highlight was wickedly popular. In fact, there were people who were genuinely believing that highlight would one day outrank football and basketball in popularity in the United States.
Whoa.
Okay, just to recap.
2 people.
There were a lot of people.
Okay.
It was insane. Yeah, it was massive.
Just to recap, it is racquetball with a different shape paddle.
A scooper.
A scooper
It's got a
instead of a
scooper.
smacker.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's
And this was going to be
that
better
what you
than
call a
football.
racket?
That's
Racket.
the thing. It's for a few decades, people believed that because the sport of highlight itself, it had very simple beginnings.
Okay.
It actually
obviously.
started as
Wall
an
ball, done.
Well, you said a little bit earlier, it started as an outdoor handball game
Okay.
in Latin America. Like that's kind of, it was like a neighborhood game.
Okay.
So folks would use their hands and whatever ball that had a little bounce to it, and they would just sort of slap it up against the wall. And so eventually the cestas, or the scoopers, they were added, and then they added baskets for scoring points, and that's how the sport was formed.
Wow.
So now there is baskets?
There's baskets involved, and I would be lying if I told you what they did.
You basically just made us believe it's racquetball and then threw baskets
It's
into
racquetball
It's
with
racquetball
baskets.
with baskets.
I don't know how much clearer I can be.
I have zero confidence in the rest of the story now.
Here's the thing. No, I promise you will soon. So the game itself didn't find its way to North America until 1904.
Wow. Not that long ago.
No, it was actually played for the first time in the United States in St. Louis at the World's Fair. And there just happened to be some people of influence from Florida in attendance.
Oh.
And so they brought it back with them to Miami. Now, Miami is actually home to the first professional highlight court. It was built at the Hialeah race course, but when it got too popular and overcrowded, it was moved to the Miami Casino in 1926.
So we can start betting on it, so it's legitimized now.
That is coming up soon.
Oh, sorry.
So here's the thing.
He gets really mad when you jump the gun on this story.
Princess Diana jumping the gun on my story.
Those are the
I'm
two
so
rules.
fired up. No, so fun
I'm
fact.
excited. That's what it is.
No, it is. A fun fact, this location in Miami, present day, is one of the only locations in the world where you can still watch a professional highlight game.
In Miami.
In Miami.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
place that kind of started it and it kind of ended it. But because of its first location being in Miami, highlight stadiums started like popping up all over Florida, like all along the East Coast. It started growing in popularity. There were so many locations in Florida that eventually the government got involved and made it legal to gamble at highlight matches. And so at this time, there were only 2 sports in the country that you could legally gamble at.
Wow.
And it was highlight and horse races.
Yeah, that's incredible, actually.
Well, you were on a highlight team when you were a kid, right? Like
Yeah,
minor
and
league
horse.
highlight.
Yeah, and horse team.
Same
You're
thing.
thinking of, you were on the horse team. Yeah, I forgot about that. You were on the horse team.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ride them.
Yeah.
I was just on the team.
They just ran over you. So in the 1930s, if you wanted to gamble professionally, like those were your 2 options. It was horse races or a highlight match. But in the 1970s, Miami was considered the epicenter of sports, all because of highlight.
Wow.
It was fascinating. Like Miami was because people were believing this is the next big thing,
right.
and because it was started in
Well, they
Miami,
had to. They had $100 on it.
Right.
yeah, they had money on
Yeah.
it. So Miami was the epicenter of sports. Yeah, and so in the 80s, we saw the rise of televised sports and ESPN. And for one reason or another, ESPN decides they're not going to air highlight. They just like, you know what? We don't think it's a good business decision. We're not going to do it. So what happened is all these other sports are now being televised. People are watching all over the globe. Highlight doesn't get on ESPN for one reason or another, and it starts to slowly decline. The digital age kind of like leaves him behind.
Well, if ESPN doesn't pick it up, it's not a sport.
And ESPN
Right.
was king, 100%. Yeah. And so in the 90s, basically what was once, this up and coming mega sport is now back to being this just kind of regionally played event. And that's the official story of the rise and fall of Highlight.
I can't wait for the unofficial.
Yeah, what's the unofficial story?
I was hoping you guys were going to ask.
Yeah.
Break it out.
Yeah. So the unofficial.
Because you've been telling me all week, Cameron, I'm so excited about this story.
I'm so excited
And
about
I'll be
this.
honest with you, what you just did was good.
It was exciting. I was excited.
But I didn't feel like you were super pumped about it.
That's the official story of the rise and fall of Highlight.
Interesting.
The real story is pretty much the entire thing was a front for money laundering and assassinations by the mafia.
Holy, okay.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Money laundering makes total sense. Assassinations, like
I'm excited.
interested in.
Everything from the mysterious rise in popularity to its sudden demise can be traced back to the Florida mob and its larger mafia counterparts.
I swear if you say Lansky in this story.
This thing had some big players.
Okay.
It had some big players. Lansky had already gone home to be with the Lord before this happened. But almost every major crime family had ties to the Highlight movement in Miami.
Really?
Wow.
In fact, there's evidence that Highlight came to the United States simply to be a mob tie, to be a mob front.
Oh, well, the mob was at the World Fair.
They
I
were
mean,
running the World
it's
Fair.
not a stretch.
Going
It's
around
not-
shaking down everybody.
It's not a
What's
stretch,
the new
dude.
thing that we can money launder?
They needed a
with?
new way to front their money. So for years, people considered this to be a rumor. On the surface, you had this new up-and-coming sport that people enjoyed, and it's selling out stadiums all around Florida. But at its underbelly, there were always rumors of mob involvement, but there was never enough evidence to prove anything. You know what I mean? Like there was never like any hard connections.
It's rare that there's like hard connections right away.
It was rare until 1974 because that's when a man named John B. Callahan came along. And Callahan was brought in as the new president of the World Highlight Organization, and he was brought in to clean up the business.
Yeah.
Makes
Now,
sense.
I say clean up in quotations because he was basically put in charge by the mob in order to protect their interest.
Got it.
Okay.
So he
Clean up the non-interest people that are in there that
Make
can
it
mess up.
make it seem more legitimate.
the people who are here for the sport. We need you to take them out.
Yeah. And the passionate people that are interested in the scoopy,
They got to be whacked.
the scoops and the baskets,
Yeah.
get rid of them.
Yeah, those
them
guys are gone.
Get the Wayne McCartys out of here. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. Up until this point, the mob connections were loose and kind of under the surface, out of the public eye. But John Callahan shows up. This guy's a known mob associate, and now he's the president. His best friend, Paul Rico, was a mafia hitman, and John hired Paul to be the head of security for the entire Highlight organization.
Okay.
So the president's a mob man. The man who's a mob hitman is now head of security for like Highlight globally.
Can we even be talking about this right now? Like I'm really
It makes me uncomfortable.
this might be my first and last episode now.
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable, dude. So at this point in 1974, it's public knowledge that the guy who's calling the shots for the sport answers only to the mafia, and he's staffing the entire organization with mob hitmen and mob money men. So at this point,
Okay.
the mob's going like, we don't care about keeping a secret anymore.
Athlete-wise or organization-wise?
Both.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Both, because when the quality of the sport started going downhill, their professionals started stepping out. So
Right,
they
they're
were
like, I remember when this was all about the passion of
yes,
highlights.
Right.
They start putting in mob guys to fill the team squad,
Right.
like to fill the squads.
Yeah,
So
and they're like, this guy just threatened me if I scooped him too many times. I'm getting like murdered.
that's 100% what happened.
gosh.
There were nights where there wasn't enough people to play. So
Wow.
like Johnny Rico puts down his like Tommy gun and he's like,
Yeah.
give
You
me a
got-
scooper.
You got Mr. Fudge playing left.
And,
left
then-
scoop.
and you're wondering why ESPN won't pick it up.
Well, highlight's pretty dangerous to begin with too.
And now you got Tommy guns.
Now you got Tommy gun
bullets
guys,
flying
right.
everywhere, right? So the problem was this move to bring John Callahan in and all of his staff. This was very public, and it acted as a temporary setback for the sport because now people who were like average folks start going like, "Dude, this is sketchy, man.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?" And you can't have it's bad PR to have a hitman run your security, like a known hitman. Like it just doesn't look good.
Not a good look.
Generally not. Yeah.
Yeah. So the mob realized this, and they knew they needed someone as the president who wasn't mob related, someone that had a clear and clean public image. So a few years later, in 1976, John Callahan was replaced by a man named Roger Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
And by replaced, I mean that John Callahan was found dead in the trunk of a car at the Miami airport.
Okay. Well,
he had
if you're
5
in
bullet
the
holes in
high-
his chest.
What?
And it was a circle.
5?
He was shot in a circle in his chest.
And a highlight scoop.
And on his chest was, for some reason or another, 3 dimes. And I don't know what significance that was, but the FBI said they found 3 dimes.
That's the price of heaven.
There's something like, put
1974.
Put some coins over his eyes for the river sticks. I mean, that was like, I guess that's how you pass in Miami.
Okay.
I'm laughing. I'm sad about John Callahan, but I'm laughing because
He knew what he was getting
He was
into.
a mob
Sure.
guy. He was a mob guy.
He knew.
So John Callahan gets replaced. They find him dead in the trunk of a car at Miami Airport.
Jeez,
Along,
at the airport.
I just want to add to this here. Also at that airport were 3 other men who were
Right.
related to John. They were also found dead in the trunks of separate cars at the Miami airport. And the FBI investigation showed that all of them were assassinated on the Highlight court and then transferred
That's
to the
specific.
Miami airport in the trunk of these
Why?
cars.
Wow.
How many
What's going on
cars
at
do they
Miami
have
Airport?
available to just abandon them?
They're
out-
just
abandon
Ubering,
them.
like
They could have just left them in a ditch or something. They gave up 4 cars.
Well, it's a statement. Let's take him to the airport.
it's total mob vibes. I think that's because the confidence of the mafia at this time, where they were just like, we're going to kill you on the court and then drag you to a car and then drive you to the Miami airport. And they knew they were going to be discovered.
Well, they
were
thought it was international property. They're like, this is like international sea, or like,
Yeah.
you can't get
That's how
caught
that
on
works.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they also, I mean, they were leaving little symbols on the guys. So it's like they knew that they were going to be.
This is very clearly mafia related.
Yeah, like they're not trying to hide it. So
Yeah.
nonetheless, Roger Wheeler, he becomes the new president of the World Highlight Organization. And he's told right off the bat, listen, man, don't ask any questions. Just run the company, promote the sport, keep your head down.
Hold these 3 dimes. I might need them back one day.
Yeah.
yeah.
Call it.
You're going to need these one day.
Yeah. But he's basically said, look, man, like we're going to give you this job, 6-figure salary, just run the sport. Not to see here. Don't ask any questions. And then Roger
No.
Wheeler, he had this reputation of being like a Boy Scout. Like this guy was like, he's not going to turn a blind eye to nothing.
Okay.
So the mob brings him in thinking it makes them look good. This guy's running it.
I was going to say, what's the benefit for
That's
them? But
it.
yeah,
It
that
makes
sense.
him look good. But instead, Roger Wheeler's like, something smells fishy around these parts.
Sketchy here.
Something's sketchy around here, right? So Roger, just a few months after becoming president, he finds out that the whole thing is a front for money laundering, and he takes it public.
Oh, Roger.
Roger Wheeler starts telling everyone, tells the cops, he tells other businessmen, he tells ESPN, which is
And they're
why
like, we knew it.
Yeah,
knew it the whole
ESPN
time.
is like, smart investment. We knew basketball was going to trump that sport. He tells everybody. And just a few short weeks later, guess where Roger Wheeler was found?
At the airport.
In the trunk of a car
Bro.
at the Miami airport.
No.
Roger.
Roger, my guy.
God, dude, it really is like where they take them to leave
They're
them.
sending
Right.
a message,
Put
man.
them in a trunk and take them to the airport.
They shoot you on the
take them
court
to the train station.
and take you to dude. That's what's so crazy about this is like, I mean, imagine and to some of these courts, because they were high dollar events. These courts are nice, man. Like they're classy places. They would come in and just kill you on the court.
Good Lord.
And then take you away.
Is anybody watching these games?
Stuff you into a well, I do believe it was after
Like
hours.
hours,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like,
It's
but it's still though
symbolic.
like, yeah, and you know how bad a racquetball will echo.
Right.
Like these courts are very similar.
Uh-huh.
So like, can you imagine a gunshot?
That
in there?
shot's
And
gonna
it's like,
echo.
Dude, the people are hearing it and just going, I don't see nothing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't want to end up in the trunk.
So
of
in the
airport.
locker room, when somebody said, "Bro, you killed it tonight,"
They're like, bro, shh.
way different.
Yeah. So basically, like at this point, there's no going back. No one in their right mind would touch the business side of Highlight. And slowly but surely, the entire sport was tainted by its mafia dealings. But the most fascinating thing about this entire ordeal is that the rise and fall of Highlight actually led to the arrest and prosecution of one of the most infamous mob hitmen of all time.
Whoa.
His name was Whitey Bulger. And at the turn of the century, Whitey was number 2 on the FBI's most wanted list, right behind Osama bin Laden.
What?
Yeah.
He
That's
was
crazy.
number 2.
How many people did he kill?
Left them all at the airport.
Countless.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know where they were. But
Dude, countless people. I think his charges were like 90. That's what they could prove.
Wow.
Right.
So like
That's what they could prove.
at least 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was right behind Osama bin Laden.
Jeez.
This guy,
Wow.
this is guys that like the FBI were looking for this dude. And so because of his connections to the extortions and the assassinations at the Miami Highlight courts, Whitey was sentenced to multiple life sentences and incarcerated at the beautiful Sumterville Penitentiary here in Florida.
Mm.
It is
Beautiful place.
It is beautiful.
Here's the thing, though. Shortly after his arrest, mysteriously, Whitey Bulger gets transferred to another prison where he is immediately killed.
And take it to the airport.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, bro, that's what's
Wow.
so crazy about this is you're one of the most, if not the most infamous mob hitmen of all time. You go down for it. You're in prison. And the mob has the power to get you transferred to a different prison so they can kill you on the spot.
Well, the killing part is the easiest part.
Yeah, it just shows you how deeply tied. We've talked about this on previous episodes where, throughout the last, 100 years, Florida's politicians haven't been the greatest.
Right.
And they've been tied into crime and other organizations. And so here's proof of this. Whitey Bulger, for a lot of folks, is a household name. And, he's brought to justice in Florida. He's put in prison in Florida and then assassinated. I mean,
And this was relatively recent.
and it wasn't that long ago, bro. It was like 2018.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yes. So when Whitey was caught, it was like modern day. Like Barack Obama was in office.
Right.
And Whitey was living it up, man. Like he was like playing, I think actually he got arrested playing tennis. He was at this like luxury resort.
Traitor.
Yeah, exactly. He's like,
Play
bro,
highlight.
he's like, everybody knows highlight sucks, bro. Like, I'm not playing this. I'm playing tennis.
I'm not faking it anymore.
Give me a racket.
Yeah, if there's
But
nobody
dude-
to kill, I'm not playing highlight.
Right.
Yeah. But dude, that's here's the thing, that Florida and the mob are responsible for the rise and fall of the sport of highlight.
Wow.
So, how many people are playing highlight now? Is it like a?
It's still going.
Is it a gimmick though?
I don't think it's a gimmick. No, but it is regional. Like it's one of those things where it's like you will find it in other countries and you'll find it in Miami.
Okay.
But there are still people that play in Miami. I don't know if it's legal to gamble, but as far as professionally, like you have to go to Miami to see it, and you could we can go this weekend to see a game.
Let's go.
But it would be
Yeah.
the equivalent as seeing like a regional. If you went to Orlando to watch like a soccer game, like there's gonna be people there. But it's not going to be like sold out.
Yeah, like a local,
It's a local vibe.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
A
And I'm
city
sure
team
there are-
or
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
But what's fascinating to me is that like it is a recognizable sport, but I didn't realize how massive it was for a couple of decades. Like it was one of those things. I was actually mentioning this to our editor Suzette, and she was like, "I remember the commercials of like
For highlight.
coming on the air and going like,
Wow.
like this is next big thing. This is a thing."
Yeah, it's crazy because like the most mainstream thing for highlight is honestly Cigar City's beer.
Right.
Like no
Right.
joke. Nobody like you might know that it's a sport, but you also probably know like nothing about
Yeah,
it.
especially
Right.
outside of Florida. I mean,
Yeah.
because highlight's distributed, pretty widely.
Yeah.
So most people was like, "Oh yeah, the beer."
Yeah.
That's interesting. Though.
Yeah, and what I it always fascinates me when we do mob stories on this show, like just the brazen like
Oh yeah.
crime factor, the audacity. I mean, like,
Well,
dude,
who's gonna
like,
stop them?
there's
It took them 30 years.
and dude, here's what's crazy to me is like I'm not trying to paint this one way or another, but like Nick was saying, dude, it was relatively recent.
Mhm.
Whitey gets brought to justice, and he still gets offed. Like this is like Epstein style stuff where it's like, you know what I mean? Like no one believes that it was like a random prison fight, bro. Like his eyeballs were cut out.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like
when you think of like mafia stuff,
they're
you think like
mushy,
that,
though.
that happened then.
yeah, exactly.
They don't grow back.
They don't-
But no, I agree with Nick. When you think mafia, you think of yesteryear. I
Right.
do.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
think
yeah,
pirates.
Yeah,
You know
not,
what I mean?
not
Like
3 years ago.
yeah,
whatever.
So now I am uncomfortable telling the story, thinking about how recent it is.
I
This
gotta
entire-
go.
yeah.
I gotta go right now. I'm
Dude,
sorry.
we were podcasting when our podcast started in 2018.
Florida Man on Florida Man existed when this happened.
Oof.
Actually, was that the first time we've kind
I'm
of covered a
nervous,
story
bro.
that recent?
No, but like a murder mafia story, yeah.
All this time we've been scared of Scientology, and we just been
What if we just
scared of the
title
wrong
it?
people.
We just have to modern day mafia.
Come on, that's gonna get the listeners. Listen,
Scoops and baskets, probably. We'll see. We'll see how it
that's
goes.
it.
that's an ice cream flavor.
Exactly. It's
Ice
not a
cream
real
store.
sport. It's the equivalent to ice cream.
What
Like,
a
I mean-
nutty episode.
Oh, man.
Listen, thank you to Nick from Drep and Stone for coming
Yes,
by.
absolutely.
And instead of giving our normal sign off, I think it'll be an honor for our guest
Yeah, for
to
you
let us
read the rules and regulations of
yeah.
Highlight.
Don't mention Princess Di.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Why would you say
Yeah,
die?
you just brought it up.
Okay, it's been 30 years. Get over it. I'm kidding. UK listeners, hey, love you. I'm kidding. Nick, tell us where we can find your show one more time.
Yeah, so you can find us everywhere that you find great podcasts like Florida Men on Florida Man.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and you can also find us all over social media. That's Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone, and come hang out with us, and we'd love to talk to everybody.
Yeah, we love you. And Florida Man listeners, appreciate you.
Yeah, love you.
See you next week.